Was of athletes who were hurting their collarbone but had great technique, who were not taking an inappropriate bar path and crashing into their upper chest. For the athletes who did it well but still had pain in the collarbone, we were wondering if there might be an anatomical theme that aligned with this. So what we started to do was measure forearm, identified by distance from wrist to elbow, and then humerus or upper arm, identified by that same elbow point up until the mid shoulder as the joint turns. So we collected 50 people, we measured 50 people and asked them a simple yes or no question, and that was, do you experience collarbone pain when you clean? And some might say occasionally, so we do a little further investigation and ultimately box this into clean yeses and clean nos. And what we found was 45 people, once they had the technique down, were just fine. But there were 5 people who said yes, they had collarbone pain. They were striking themselves in the collarbone with the bar. Of those 5 people, all 5 had longer forearms than upper arms by an average of 0.16 centimeters. Of that entire other group, 45 people, they had anatomically, they averaged a negative 3.09 centimeter difference. So for that group, their upper arm was 3 centimeters longer than their forearm, no pain. For the group who had forearms 1 to 2 centimeters longer than the upper arm, consistent and consistent pain in the collarbone area. So what we've done is we've identified some modifications and some adjustments that we can make. The first is, and you know, this makes sense. So this is the shoulder, and this is the elbow in kind of a racked position. And here's the upper arm. If the upper arm is a little bit longer, plus 3 centimeters longer, than the forearm, then you can have a natural hinge at the wrist, nice loose grip, and the bar would sit on the anterior shoulder. Now, what happens if you extend that distance? What happens if the forearm is plus 1.6 centimeters, as we saw on average in those reporting pain? Well, you either have an extreme wrist angle, which is nearly impossible, or you have the inevitability of the bar making contact with the collarbone. So what we essentially thought about was, what is the one technical modification, although it may not be ideal for max effort lifting? Drop the elbow. So if we were to drop the elbow and keep the levers the same distance, what we eventually find is, with the same forearm length, a more relaxed or natural hand position, then the bar again makes contact in the anterior shoulder. That's our modification. Now, alternative movements include the dumbbell cleans. So you do it unilaterally, one arm at a time. Okay, and then of course you flip it. The other would be what we call a jump raise or a high pull. So you work the movement as you would a natural pull and clean, you just don't catch it. We would probably supplement just to make sure we got the entire suite of benefits. We would do the high pull and then maybe add some front squats to it. But